Imagine waking up every day in a locked room, your belly swollen from yet another forced pregnancy, your body aching from malnutrition and abuse. You haven't seen sunlight in months. The last time you held your newborn, still wet with birth fluids, they ripped the child from your arms before you could even count their tiny fingers. This is the daily reality for thousands of women, trapped in Nigeria's baby factories, a nationwide network of human breeding farms, where young girls are treated like livestock and their infants sold to the highest bidder. The shocking reality of Nigeria's baby factories is that they don't lurk in some distant, hidden location far from public view. These human breeding grounds operate brazenly in our neighborhoods, cleverly disguised as legitimate institutions that society would never suspect. Take the case of that so-called charity home in Lagos that was finally exposed after years of operation. Neighbors had grown accustomed to seeing young pregnant women entering, but never saw mothers leaving with their babies. The only clues were the occasional muffled cries in the night, and the strange comings and goings of well-dressed couples who would leave carrying newborn bundles, never to return. Even more disturbing was the facility uncovered in Imo State, situated right beside a bustling primary school where innocent children played unaware, their laughter masking the desperate screams of imprisoned girls giving birth just meters away. Behind those unassuming walls, the victims ensnared in these modern-day slave camps come from various backgrounds, but they all share that one dangerous trait that makes them perfect targets: vulnerability. You'll find impoverished girls from remote villages who dropped out of school, their families too poor to protect them from predators, offering lucrative job opportunities in the city. There are runaway teenagers escaping abusive households, so desperate for shelter that they'll trust any stranger offering help. Orphans with no safety net, university students struggling to pay tuition, even young wives betrayed by their own husbands all can become prey. The traffickers operate with terrifying efficiency, studying their targets' weaknesses before striking. Some pose as employment agents posting fake ads for factory work or housekeepers. Others play the role of caring boyfriends, showering lonely girls with affection before revealing their true intentions. The most brazen simply abduct their victims from bus stops or markets, knowing no one will come looking for these nobodies. Once these girls cross the threshold into these houses of horror, their old lives are systematically erased. Their mobile phones, which is their last connection to the outside world, are immediately confiscated. Their families receive carefully crafted messages, claiming they've run away with a boyfriend or taken a job abroad. Inside the cave, they're given new identities, their real names forbidden. Another psychological tactic to break their spirit. The living conditions defy all standards of human decency. Imagine windowless rooms where multiple pregnant girls are chained to beds, the air thick with the stench of unwashed bodies and infection. The so-called medical care consists of occasional visits from unqualified attendants, who care only about preserving the merchandise of the growing babies inside these captive wombs. When labor begins, there are no sterile instruments, no pain relief, just crude deliveries performed by untrained hands on blood-stained mattresses. Many survivors later describe passing in and out of consciousness during childbirth, only to wake and find their babies gone, their bodies too broken to even protest. The psychological torment is as brutal as the physical abuse. Guards reinforce the message daily: your family doesn't want you back. No one is searching for you. If you try to escape, we'll kill you, and no one will care. Some operators employ twisted religious indoctrination, telling victims this suffering is God's punishment for their past sins. Others use food deprivation as punishment. A pregnant girl might go days without eating after asking too many questions. The most heartbreaking cases involve girls who've been through multiple pregnancies in captivity, their spirits so crushed, they no longer even cry when their newborns are taken. They've learned the terrible truth in these factories. They're not human beings, just disposable containers for a profitable commodity. Perhaps the most heartbreaking factor is the grinding poverty that fuels this trade. In communities where hunger is constant and opportunities non-existent, desperate parents sometimes sell their daughters to what they believe are legitimate job opportunities. Traffickers exploit this desperation, offering sums that seem life-changing to impoverished families. Young girls themselves facing starvation or homelessness sometimes walk into these traps willingly, unaware of the nightmare that awaits them. The operators of baby factories know exactly how to exploit this vulnerability, targeting the poorest communities, where missing girls are least likely to be searched for. Every day more girls disappear into these factories. Every day more babies are sold like commodities. When the babies are born, they are taken immediately, sometimes while the mother is still bleeding. Some girls are told their child died. Others are forced to sign adoption papers they don't understand. The babies are then sold into a thriving black market. The baby trade is a multi-million-dollar industry in Nigeria. A healthy newborn can sell for anywhere from N$500,000 to N$2 million, which equals $600 to $2,400. The people who buy babies from these factories fall into three main groups, each with terrible reasons. First, there are couples who can't have children of their own. Instead of going through legal adoption, they pay huge amounts of money to get babies illegally. They tell themselves they're saving the children, but they're really supporting this cruel business. Second, there are criminal gangs who buy babies to sell them again. Some babies get sent overseas with fake papers and sold to families who don't know the truth. Others are forced into terrible lives. Some will become slaves in rich people's homes. Some will be forced into prostitution when they're older. The worst buyers are those who want babies for evil rituals. These people believe using baby body parts and magic ceremonies will bring them money or power. It sounds like something from horror stories, but police have found real evidence of this happening. Doctors and nurses sometimes help these criminals, making the problem even worse. All these buyers keep the baby factory business going because they're willing to pay so much money. A baby can sell for more than most Nigerians earn in several years, as long as people keep paying. These evil factories will keep trapping young women and stealing their babies. The people running these operations are not faceless criminals. They are often respected members of society, pastors, business owners, even medical professionals. In 2021, a doctor in Anambra was arrested for running a baby factory inside his clinic. In 2023, a popular Lagos pastor was exposed for selling babies under the guise of spiritual adoptions. The persistence of baby factories in Nigeria is not accidental. It is the result of deeply entrenched systems that allow this evil to flourish. At the heart of this crisis lies a toxic combination of corruption, silence, and crushing poverty that creates the perfect environment for these human farms to operate with impunity. Corruption forms the backbone of this criminal enterprise. From police officers who accept bribes to look the other way, to government officials who deliberately slow-walk investigations, the system is rigged in favor of the traffickers. There have been numerous cases where raids on baby factories were tipped off in advance, allowing operators to hide evidence and relocate their victims. Even when arrests are made, well-connected owners often secure their release through bribes or political connections, returning to business as usual within weeks. The justice system moves painfully slow on these cases, allowing critical evidence to disappear and witnesses to be intimidated into silence. The culture of silence surrounding baby factories is equally devastating. Many Nigerians either don't know this is happening or choose not to see it. Neighbors might notice strange patterns, young pregnant girls entering a building but never leaving with babies, or hearing cries in the night but fear or indifference keeps them from reporting. In some communities, there's even misplaced sympathy for the operators, who claim to be helping unmarried mothers. This silence is compounded by the stigma faced by survivors, who are often shamed rather than supported when they escape, making others afraid to come forward. But change is possible. With enough pressure, Nigeria's government could crack down harder on these operations. With enough awareness, communities could stop turning a blind eye. This isn't just Nigeria's problem, it's a global human rights crisis. If we stay silent, we are complicit. But if we speak up, we can help end this nightmare.